What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I just want to give you guys a quick market update as Bitcoin has kind of been moving sideways, but we're getting a ton of mixed signals on our indicators. So I just wanted to make this quick market update to give you guys a little bit of clarity and let you know how I'm feeling about the markets. Are we going to get this next leg up to that 28 to 30K level that everyone's watching, or are we going to get stopped short and come back to the downside to much lower prices for Bitcoin? So I want to let you guys know my general sentiment in the long, short, and medium term. And I also want to show you some key levels I'm watching that are going to help me kind of navigate some of these confusing signals that we're getting on the indicators. But before we get into it, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of these urgent market updates or awesome tutorials that we upload to the channel. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the charts. Again, I want to go ahead and just do a general overview of my analysis, let you guys know my general sentiment. Am I still leaning bullish long term? And we're going to talk about that. And then I also want to show you guys those key levels that I'm looking at that are going to help act as a compass in these murky waters. So let's go ahead and hopefully I can give you a little bit of clarity of what's going on in the markets. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart. And I do just at first want to go ahead and come up to the higher time frames, guys, and just kind of show you some of these mixed signals. Now, taking a look at the higher time frames, something like the weekly, I am still leaning more bullish long term, and the main reason for that, guys, is the money flow. Obviously, our money flow is continuing to the upside here on the weekly time frame. We do have our VWAP here about to print a red dot, so that could indicate some downside, but even if we do come down for a little bit more of a correction, as long as we can continue to have this money flow working its way to the upside, that is what I'm looking at to expect further moves up in this market. Now, your 6-day as well is coming down with your VWAP, looking for that red dot very, very soon here. Money flow is also coming back to the upside, though. Now, it does look like you're kind of teetering out here a little bit, but just in general, you can see you are clearly moving to the upside with your money flow, and that VWAP is looking for the red dot. So we have our VWAPs cooling down on the 6-day and the weekly, which could indicate more of a pullback, but the fact that the money flow is still continuing to come up, that is making me still lean a little bit more bullish in the long term. Now, as we work our way down the daily time frames, our 5-day is printing that red dot, but again, we do have our money flow continuing to come up, maintaining my bullish long-term sentiment. Now, that 5-day red dot does have the possibility of bringing us down in the short term, so you have to be ready for that. But again, until this money flow starts coming back out aggressively again, I am expecting this money flow to continue back to the upside. 4-day, similar story. However, our money flow is in the green. So until we really start seeing this money flow come out and start to come back towards the zero line, I am not really too worried about that longer term trend. As long as the money flow on the higher daily time frames are either coming up or staying in the green like this on the 4-day, I am going to remain bullish in the longer term. However, we do have this bearish divergence confirmed with our lower highs on our momentum waves and higher highs on our price action. Just something we have to keep in mind, because you guys want to remember with our weekly bullish divergence, granted this was a bit of a stronger divergence, we did move sideways for about 4 or 5 weeks before that bullish divergence wound up playing out. So you do just want to remember that the higher daily time frames can take time to play out. But again, on the flip side, you want to understand that if this is going to be a sustainable rally to the upside, this is where, sometimes you are naturally going to create these bearish divergences on the way up. And a lot of times, if the trend is strong enough, these bear divs on the higher time frames will just present themselves as small pullbacks such as this and this, or it may just kind of present itself as some sideways consolidation. So you can kind of see where the confusion is starting to come in even on the higher time frames. But in general, with the money flow coming up and the 3-day money flow maintaining in the green, I am going to stick with my long-term bullish sentiment with a possibility of getting up to that 30K level until proven otherwise, until we see the money flow coming out on these higher time frames. And then you have your 2-day confirmed bearish divergence, and you also want to realize that your money flow is kind of coming out here, but then again, it does look like it is starting to slow down, and it may start to curve back up here. And with the daily money flow coming back to the upside, I am thinking that that may be able to leak into the 2-day and bring us back into a bigger blue wave. But basically, guys, the point I'm trying to get across here is there's some mixed signals, right? Daily is looking bullish, looking for that green dot coming up very soon. Now, this is something that I am keeping an eye on if we are going to get another big move to the upside, potentially to that 30K level up here. If we are going to get that move, I don't think that we're going to get it without that green dot on the daily. So for the next big move up, whether that's going to be revisiting the highs here at 25.3, or if we are going to get that actual moon blast up to that 28 to 30K level, that daily green dot is likely going to be, if we are going to get a move up, that green dot is likely going to be the catalyst for that. And that is likely going to start printing unless we get a big dump here. That green dot looks like it wants to start printing potentially later tonight. Now, coming down to your 16-hour, money flow is in the red. However, it is starting to curve back to the upside, but the fact that we are in the red would be technically a more bearish outlook. Green dot on your 12-hour is confirmed. Money flow starting to come back up. So again, looking a little bit more on the bullish side. Money flow crossing over into the green on the 8-hour. That would also be more of a bullish sign, showing that we may kind of, we got that big move up, right? We lost our range. We may just be coming down here to kind of consolidate before another big move back up to these highs. And we're going to get more into that in just a second. Now, coming down to our 4-hour, you could see your money flow is actually kind of coming out here with your VWAP coming to the downside, indicating we may cool off on the 4-hour. But then you come to the 2-hour, and now the money flow is crossing over into the green. So guys, this is basically the mixed signals we're seeing. And you can see we even got a little bearish divergence here on the 2-hour that isn't really playing out much at this time. So again, we are kind of just moving sideways, getting a lot of mixed signals. So now let's move on to those key levels that I'm watching that, again, I am using as kind of like a compass to navigate these confusing signals that we're getting on the indicators. So let's pull up these levels. Here they are, guys. Now, first off, I do just want to hide some of these levels, right? Or I actually just want to touch on a few of these levels before we dig a little bit deeper. Now, essentially what we're looking at here, guys, is we have a bunch of value areas, right? We have our macro value area between about $21,931, and then your value area high of that macro range is at about 25K, about $25,050. And this is our macro range, right? And this is going to come into play in just a second. Now, right now, this is kind of the sideways range that we are trading in right now. We have kind of made a higher low here, and now we are making a higher high, but we did get a rejection from a very key level. Now, obviously, we were kind of bouncing around in this previous value area before losing it to the downside, which was something we were looking for on my YouTube channel, but we broke down from this range and came right down to our next key level that we were keeping an eye on in that premium Discord, and we did come right down to that level, and it's not some magic level, or, we didn't know we were coming down to this level because, I'm some kind of genius or wizard, or I have a crystal ball. We knew it because we knew that if we broke down out of this local range, that we would come down and test this point of control at $23,000, which would be likely to get a bounce off of, because not only did we have a $23,000 point of control here of this macro range, but we also did have a local golden pocket at this level as well. And as you can see, we actually pushed past that POC, tapped the local golden pocket before getting this move up. And this was a trade given in our premium Discord. So shout out to anybody who's in the kitchen catching those trades. But with that being said, there is some interesting stuff going on here. So we got our bounce off the POC as we were looking for. And now we are continuing up, but we did come up here and test a very, very important level of resistance. Now, because we're getting these mixed signals on the indicators, guys, the way we're going to kind of try to get around this is by looking at two major levels. Our major level of resistance, which is essentially holding us back from more upside, and a major level to the downside, which is holding us back from getting more downside, right? So those levels are going to be, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines here. Those levels, for the most part, are going to be your key level of support down here at $23,000. Again, the point of control of our macro range. Now, this was very expected because we came up here looking at this range. We came up and rejected the value area high. At that point, guys, you know that we expect price to make a move down towards that point of control, and then we got our little bounce. And now that we are holding support on top of this point of control, until we break down below this POC, I am expecting price to potentially go ahead and move its way back above this value area low and up to our old value area high up here at about 25K. So our main level to the downside is that 23K POC, because as long as we stay above this level, again, that is where if we hold this as support, we could expect price to potentially make its way up to the value area high. However, we would have to get past our key level of resistance, which is this level here, our previous value area low of this old range that we were trading in not too long ago. Now, price does like to come up to these levels and test it as resistance before making lower lows, right? So this is something we have to be careful of. So this level at $24,000, the previous value area low, makes it very important because for more reason than one, right? But on top of this value area low, another reason this is a very important level is because if you go ahead and pull your local golden pocket from the high to the low, you could see this value area low does come very close to this local golden pocket, which we have also come up to test. Now, like I just said about the value area low, price does like to get a bounce and then move up to these golden pocket /786 fib levels before getting a rejection down to make a lower high and then eventually a lower low. So that is why I am looking at this level as very, very important. So I'm going to go ahead and from the value area low to the golden pocket, I'm going to go ahead and make this a box, right? Because this is going to be a key level that we need to get above. Because if we can get above that previous value area low, we will in turn be getting accepted back into this previous area of balance, in which case, once we hold support on that value area low, this is where we can expect to make a move up to our POC of this previous range at $24,591. And then eventually, if you could flip that level to support, we could eventually make it up to that value area high, coming in closer to $25,000. And not only is it your local value area high, but it is also your macro value area high from this bigger range from all of these candles all the way from Friday the 13th. So this makes that the door holding us back from a big move up to that 25K level. If we pull up our visible range volume profile, you can see that we do have that big volume gap that we keep an eye on so closely on the channel that could eventually, once we break that value area high, break us into that low volume gap and push us up to that 28 to 30K level. So again, real quick, just a recap, guys, main level of resistance. Let me go ahead and get rid of some of these brushes, right? Main level of resistance is going to be your previous value area low / golden pocket, because if you could get above this level, you'll get accepted into this previous area of balance, and likely, if you could hold that value area low, you will likely get a move at least to your POC. If not, that value area high would be the eventual expected target, right? And then that opens up the door to more upside. However, if we do not get past that value area low, and we indeed did just come up to bearishly retest that golden pocket before making a lower high and continuing to the downside, the level at 23K is going to be key support, because when looking at your more macro volume profile, you know that as you sit at that point of control, if we come down and we cannot hold this point of control as support and we lose it and cannot get above it, that is where you're expecting the move down to your value area low, because that is how volume profiles typically behave. So we're using the levels from the volume profile to give us clarity into when we can expect to move up or when we can expect to move down. So in short, until we break that value area low, that previous value area low at $24,000 or $24,022, that I am not expecting more upside towards 25K until we can crack that level. Once that level's cracked, we can start to expect that move up. And like, very similarly, if we come down to the POC, if we do not hold that and break below it, that's where we can expect to move down to the value area low, again, due to the way that the volume profiles behave. Now, with that being said, guys, I do just want to show you one last little thing here. Coming down to the lower time frames, you could kind of see that we are starting to form somewhat of a sideways range here. Now, you could probably pull this from a couple different places, but as of right now, you can see here, we have actually put in a 24-minute bearish divergence into this key level. Key resistance, bearish divergence, money flow coming out with the confirmation of a blood diamond. So if you're looking for some local scalp levels, this might be an interesting range to watch as we are at our value area high with a bearish confirmation and a blood diamond. This may give us a move back down to our local point of control, coming in at about $23,412. And if we lose that level, it will be likely to come down to our range lows, our local range lows at about $23,200. $257. And then if we lose those levels, it will be likely to come back down here to test, again, that point of control coming in at about 23K. Test. So, guys, I think that's all the time I got for today's video. I just wanted to show you guys kind of how I'm looking at this market. Again, very mixed signals on our indicators. We have the weekly VWAPs rolling to the downside. We have the daily money flow coming up. We have the 2-hour money flow crossing over into the green, but the money flow on the 4 hours coming out. So the mixed signals are out there. So this is what I'm looking at. These are the levels that I'm watching to kind of give me a little bit of insight into which way price will break. So I'm watching those two major levels, guys. If we do not break above or below those, I kind of would just expect to continue to range between that previous value area low and our macro POC. Let me pull up my screen real quick one more time. If we don't break above that resistance or below this support, I would basically just expect to continue to range again between that value area low at $24,022 and that POC at about $23,000. So again, if we do not break this key level or this key level, we may kind of just continue to range up and down within these two levels. So guys, be careful out there. The mixed signals are presenting themselves, so just be careful. You don't want to take any trades that you don't think are high probability. So if you're not confident about taking your trade, just sit on your hands, wait to come up to a key level, look for your confirmations, and get into the higher probability trades. And with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candle out.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide.